Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Rangers Journal. I am your host for this evening, Ross Graham, and we've got quite a lot to unpick from this weekend, lads, haven't we? It's been another twist and a turn, I guess, in terms of controversy, VAR, penalties, red cards, and everything that makes the SPFL as crazy as it is. To unpick this, I have got some great guests this evening. We've got Andrew from the Ibrox channel. How are you, pal?
I'm all right. I'm just about survived yesterday. You know, we can't just have a nice, easy win and just get on with it, can we? There's always a wee heart attack in there, isn't there? But yes, I'm good, Ross. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm really good. Thank you. Had a good, nice long weekend, ready for back to the grind tomorrow. All good things have to come to an end. Dino, how are you, mate? How was your weekend?
Yeah, great weekend. Thank you, buddy. It was nice end to it, I guess, with a 4-1 win, so to speak. Yeah, all good. What about yourself? Good weekend?
It was nice, mate. I said to Andrew off air, probably spent too much time in the pub, but hey, these things happen.
No, wrong with that.
Could be worse. Could be doing DIY or something. Anyway, look, we've got so much to unpack, as I said. Let's get straight into the 4-1 victory against Kilmarnock at the weekend. So we knew that they had put the points on the board and that the marker had been set for us at the weekend. Andrew, I'm just going to talk you through the team and get your thoughts. So obviously Butland in goal, Tav, Balogun, Suter and Barisic. He stuck with Lundstrom and Diamonde in central midfield and Cantwell just in front. And then playing Sterling outright, Silva on the left and Dessers down the middle. Seems like a straightforward team, quite a lot of kind of consistency with the previous game there. What was your kind of first reaction when the team list hit?
No big surprise, really. It seems to be the team he likes to stick with. I think he likes that kind of midfield dynamic of Diamande and Lundstrom together. Obviously, Barisic in there at the minute because Yilmaz is luckily he's just about there now by the looks of it. But yeah, Balogun and Suter together. Ben Davies kind of left out in the cold. Balogun definitely the kind of first pick ahead. I know you nearly almost said Goldson as well. It's like almost like a muscle memory, isn't it? It's you're so used to it. You never see Connor Goldson injured. But yeah, like it's very strange not to see him now in the team, and obviously he's got some sort of I think it was a knee injury or something, isn't it, which is ruling him out for the rest of the season. Obviously Silva out on the left. I guess it's where he has to be now, due to Sima being out, and of course the Nigerian nightmare Cyril Dessers up top. What can go wrong, eh?
Well, look, I'm sure we'll get into some of those players as we go into the game and unpick that a bit. Dino, look, we said there that obviously Goldson is normally an ever present at the back. I nearly said it instead of Balogun. Clearly, there's a little bit of murky circumstances and stuff going on there, perhaps with his kind of drop out the squad and a sudden knee injury, which no one really knows how that happened. The back four at the minute, how do you think? Do you think we've got enough depth there at the minute to kind of cover for him, or do you think we're struggling, or do you think kind of the next few games will, I guess, tell?
Oh, we're definitely struggling there. I mean, we've all got this hope that Ridvan's going to, come back in, and it's the cliche of if he's fit enough to be in the bench, he's fit enough to start. So Barisic starting at left back, my instant reaction was, well, okay, he'll get 45. Ridvan will come on at half time to give him 45 for the Old Firm. Never happened, never materialised, and they came obviously on later on. Sterling's obviously been put on right wing for protection for Tav, for dealing defensively, because his just athleticism and desire and will to win is much needed there. And the centre halves is just Balogun obviously out, and we're looking at John Suter and Ben Davies, who were really probably, at times been two of our weakest over the course of their careers. And Ben Davies, I think hadn't played since I can't remember when it was crazy, like months, October since he last started maybe, or something like that, or it was crazy lengthy periods of time with him being out. So, and John Suter, I think the only saving grace about that is that John Suter will be in his natural position come Old Firm, and he wouldn't be playing. He's just far too awkward, and like Cashier memories back to Amoruso. Amoruso was a right-footed centre half, but he was so good with his left foot. He was brilliant in there. Do you know, like John Stewart doesn't have that in his game, so it's not like, you know, that there is right-footed centre halves that can slot in at that left centre back row, but not John Stewart. So as I said, the only saving grace about that is that we have John going back into his natural position come Old Firm game, but it's an area in the summer that needs some serious investment.
It's a tricky one, isn't it? It's a really tough one. I think Davies was brought in to be that Helander replacement, wasn't he? The left-footed centre back who can be very solid and potentially look to sort of play that pass into midfield, but kind of that's it. I think just more defensive robustness more than kind of running out as a Suter would. So it's interesting to see that dynamic now. I think some of the comments that have been coming on are interesting. That could potentially be a few of the last home game that you know, we'll see a few of these players playing. I think Barisic came off and kind of gave a clap as he went off to the fans. It looked like it was something along those lines. Interesting as well, you say about the kind of level of surgery that's needed. I think, goodness me, I think the rumours are going to start flying over the next week or so. Clearly, we get the Old Firm out of the way. Hopefully, we'll come out with what we need from that, and then we move from there and see what happens and start having these conversations. We'll get into the game a little bit now. So it wouldn't be Rangers without it seems like a Tavernier mistake these days, which leads to a goal. But I think in all credit, it was a fluky one. He didn't really know a lot about it. He was probably about a foot or two away from the ball. I think prior to that, there was an opportunity for Barisic to do a lot better. I think his head's been gone for a while now. So probably no surprise to see him being a bit half-hearted in there. Andrew, I want to kind of get your thoughts on I guess Rangers' response from going one down quite early on in the game. Were you impressed with what you saw? Was there a determination, or do you think it was more here we go again? You know,
we didn't. Yeah, we didn't start too badly. Like you say, there was just a bit of we just weren't as sharp, which is something we've been seeing a lot in the kind of later embers of the season. Going the goal down, if you're going to go a goal down, probably 11 minutes is probably the best time to. You got plenty of time to come back. Barisic just completely out muscles there. You know, it's just a catalogue of kind of points where you can look and go, could have stopped it there, could have stopped it there, could have stopped it there. Now, obviously, it kind of comes off Tav and kind of goes in. There's a side to it thinks he could have done a bit better there. It's a bit harsh. I know it comes off him, but if he could have stood up a bit better. But the response from the team, we were pressing a little bit more, but it was starting to look like it was going to not be our day, if I'm being honest, because as the clock was kind of ticking down into the first half, we get the penalty, obviously the incident where I think it was Lundstrom pinged a great ball to Silva, didn't he? He was just kind of on the halfway line as well. Something we've seen a few times from this season. And it was a great touch from Silva, brought the ball down. Obviously, with the incident, Silva kind of gets the shot away, but Dennis gets a touch on it, preventing it going into the net. And obviously, there's the handball as Sterling tries to bundle it in. Now, when you get a chance like that, right, we've got a penalty at home. Let's get back into the game and kind of tick over. It was just frustrating. It wasn't a terrible penalty from Tav, but Tav's very good in getting them in the postage stamps. He's very good at that. So do it, and it's a goal. He's changing it up a little bit too much for me, I think.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's going to happen, isn't it? And I think, Tavernier has had a bit of a rough time recently. I think everyone can say that. There's been occasions where he's really pulled them miraculous performances out of the bag and dragged us back, but also there's been quite a few recently where it's just felt things aren't going his way. And that happens in football. So, Dino, I was going to get your thoughts on, I guess, do you think Clement will be happy having seen the response that he got? Obviously, we then scored, I think it was 45 plus 8 we scored. So a significant amount of time from, I guess, them scoring, including a penalty and a red card, where we still never really looked to put the keeper under too much pressure. I think we had quite a lot of shots in the first half. Do you think Clement will be kind of happy that we eventually got there, or do you think a bit frustrated that we didn't capitalise on it in that first half when we had a great opportunity to go in 2-3 up at half time?
Frustrated, but not much seemed to change from us tactically. So I I felt Clermont had the perfect opportunity there to mix things up. If you know, it's quite a lot of the time we were sitting deep with Dio and Lundstrom. Like, why we're at home against Kilmarnock and they're down to 10 men? Play a 6 and play an 8 and a 10, or play 2 10s. Do you know, like, do you know what I mean? Just like,
yeah.
Do you know, like,
increase the creativity. Yeah,
like, and that just did not happen. It was the same, you know, boring build-up play that we seem just to be doing, and I'm like, they're down to 10 men and we're at Ibrox. We should be just like going, okay, well, let's get the gloves off here and go for it. But we didn't, and that's down to Clermont. So that's not down to the players. That's down to Clermont for not changing things. So we got the goal. We go in 1-1. Brilliant. A wee bit of a much needed lift, to say the least, after the crazy first half with the stoppages and things like that. And quite impossible to actually get into a rhythm as well when the game's constantly stopping like that. And so I can understand that and mean massive pressure on the players and stuff, but at home against 10 men, that's on Clermont for me. I'm
gonna disagree with you, mate. And I guess the reason is we were playing well prior to the goal going in, which was completely against the run of play, and we were creating things after. For me, it's the players on the pitch who are so used to going one down and not having the urgency. Ross County, Dundee, all over again. The players are the ones on the pitch, and he wants leaders on the pitch. It should be Tavernier, it should be Lundstrom, who are telling the players, to make the dynamic runs, take the risky pass now because they're down to 10, and we should be able to recoup that ball. I understand that they'll be training a certain way, and that's Clermont's style. So maybe that's the progressive element that could have been a little bit enhanced. Andrew, what are your thoughts? I mean, look, we're going in 1-1 at half time. Actually, do you know what? I'm going to ask you more about the goal now that we've come to it. So Fabio Silva, the ball comes into the box. Silva just nudges in front of the defender. Probably something we've not seen him do a lot this season. Get that goal side and be quite dynamic in his movement. I actually thought he had a pretty good first half. I think he was one of the few players that was trying to make those dynamic forward runs and screaming for the ball and creating space. And he slotted it beautifully into the bottom corner, much to the relief of 50,000 Blue Noses at Ibrox Stadium. But
sorry, Ross. Sorry.
No. I was just going to say, I thought you were going to go on to my next bit. But Silva then moved on to moved up towards the corner flag and pointed around the stadium very, very intentionally, lifted up his shirt and was doing this. For those that have just joined, I'd love to hear your thoughts on what that celebration meant. What was he trying to tell? Was it us? Was it the media? Andrew, what do you reckon?
Do you know what? At the time, I didn't really see it, didn't really notice it. Something I noticed when people were sharing it on Twitter later on that afternoon. Could it be the media? I don't know. There's not. I think, obviously at Ibrox, it can be, a bit of a cauldron when players aren't doing too well. We're very good at getting behind the team, and we are. But when there are certain things, certain players, I wouldn't say Dessers has had a lot of hate from the support. It could be directed at the press, but you know what? We see goal celebrations like this. Silva's had a bit of he's not had the best time at Wolves. He peaked very well at Porto in the kind of, I think he won the UEFA Youth League, what they call it. Sorry, the under-19s one, and progressed very quickly. And did very well. Obviously went to Benfica, went back to Porto and got his big move for 40-odd million. And especially around the time, COVID was still around in that respect. So the market was very, people weren't really spending a lot of money for Wolves to shell out £35 million for him. But, he's not quite cut it in the Premier League. He did well out at Anderlecht, and he had a bit of a falling out though with the manager there, and then went out to PSV when Niels Kopp and managed to get him there for the rest of the season. So he has some things to prove in some respects, because he's still not reached that level in the Premier League, but he's definitely still a player that's developing. Wolves want to keep a hold of him, but he's, if he's struggling with the criticism, I think he's got to be able to take it on the chin a little bit. I know he's not really been played in his natural position, through the middle. I think he'd be more probably suited to that, but he's he's out on the left. And he's not been terrible there by any stretch of the imagination. He's just been a little bit slow with some things. Last week, I was getting a bit frustrated at him because when a cross was coming in, he was there. He should have stopped the cross, and he didn't. He was just very slow in reacting. So yeah, I've kind of not answered your question, but just kind of got into whole history about Silva.
You've summarised, I guess, what the context is that he's playing in, probably in his mindset. Dean, the guy came in with huge expectations. There's been reports recently that we're not going to be extending that or trying to hammer out a deal, whatever that could look like, whether it's loan, permanent, whatever it would be. And I think a lot of Rangers fans have probably commented on that and said, you know what, yeah, you're not good enough anyway. To me, it was a dig. I think it was a dig, potentially one of the last Rangers or home games that he'll play. And I think he was saying, I'm Fabio Silva. You know, you guys shut up. This is what I do. Well, that's not what we want at Rangers, surely.
No, I mean, like, let's draw things back here and like look at it from the outside. But at home against Kilmarnock and they're down to 10 men, you've just scored. Yeah. Get the ball, get to the halfway line, get the fans going, come on. Do you know what I mean? That's the reaction on. We didn't want this pish. It's, excuse my language, it's the same when a player celebrates like that or does that. And I'm like, look, fair enough, you scored the goal, but come on, like, continue, you know, like, go and get another one, you know. And it just really just irritates me when players do those type celebrations, because I just like, you're not proving anything at this moment in time. You're just making yourself like a fanny. So just get the ball and get yourself at the halfway line. That's as simple as that. We need to score goals. No be doing this. Do you know, like that's the fact of the matter. And it's clear as day that he's not interested in the club, and he's only interested in him own self. So so not extending his loan. I'm all for it, because I don't want players at our club who think that they're bigger than the club. Simple as that.
Yeah.
And to me, that's why I was annoyed at that.
I think there's one thing being arrogant and doing celebrations when you've scored 35 goals a season. When you've scored 3, you know, and you're potentially going back to a parent club who probably don't want you, and you've kind of been, you know, a journeyman around Europe and you're only 22 or whatever. There's a different statement there. And look, you know, I saw some comments there. He has had some good games away in Benfica. He played well and whatnot, but he's certainly not earned the status that I think he holds for himself in his own head. So anyway, halftime came about. We came out in the second half again, a little lackluster, I felt. I don't think there was a huge amount of fire in the belly from what I could see. And it took us until the 62nd minute for probably the most unusual goal you'll see, a Ben Davies right foot goal, which was probably quite unexpected. But from then on, we looked to kick on. I think we started to really play a lot more expansive football. You could see Killy were getting tired, and we started to carve out a lot of chances. Andrew, talk me through Tom Lawrence's goal, because it really was a thing of beauty, wasn't it?
Now, that's something that Tom Lawrence would do at Derby when you used to watch him down in the Championship. And he did reach a little bit of form, didn't he, before he got injured? I say got injured, what time? Before the main big injury that he had. He's very good from a shot. He's very good from outside the box. He's very good at kind of lining up shots. His little touch just to take it past the kind of defender was just absolutely brilliant. That sets him up perfectly. And to be fair, the whole move was good. You know, McCausland played out a lovely ball to Lawrence, and it just that touch takes the defender out the game. He's got another 2 defenders in front of him, and then he just stops intelligently and just to give himself a little bit of space, let them just go a little bit further afield. He just then jinks and just hits it. Oh, that's just brilliant. 3-1 as well at that point. It's what we needed. We needed that kind of little cushion, and it helped spur us on, I think.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think we've seen him do things like that. I remember away at PSV, he cut in from the left and he cracked one that hit the top. It hit the corner. The right at the stanchion. We've seen him do that. I guess there's an argument there. Could he play on the left? We know he's got that in his locker. The question was asked a few weeks ago on the pod. Guys who are just joining us, thanks for joining the Rangers Journal this evening. It'd be great to hear your thoughts in the comments as we talk through Rangers' victory over Kilmarnock. Dean, we then continued with some pressure, although arguably there was a little bit of a decline in pace. I think we kind of slowed things down, made a few changes before John Souttar scored what could prove to be quite a valuable goal in the 93rd minute it was. What are your thoughts on, I guess, Rangers? What's the word? You hear a lot about foot on throat. You hear a lot about clinicalness. You hear a lot about kind of being that savage in the final third to just keep going. Do you think that this Rangers team just lacks that? Because for me, I was sat there watching it thinking, why are we playing, sideways lateral passes across the back here? Why is Lundstrom passing backwards? Why is, what's wrong with this team that means that we can't go and put 5-6 past a tired 10-man Killie?
That's the $1 million question, isn't it? And it's something I think we've lacked for in and out prolonged periods of time. In my opinion, we have players. It's that ruthlessness and relentlessness, and it was actually a word that Gerrard used throughout our 55 season, and that relentlessness was there. The players just keep going, and hence one of the reasons why we were invincible, and we were just, everything was just done to a standard that was just, that's what we were all about. And then it kind of just never, it didn't even stagnate, it just deteriorated again. So it's down to the players and the players' own belief, I guess, playing such drab football. And I mean, they don't even, like, as you're saying about the lateral passes, nobody even gets on the ball, takes the touch head up and wants to even not even hit a pass, like just want to beat a man in the middle of the park, get the fans off their seat. There's not even anybody that really wants to take that responsibility on. Just be sort of things like that can be called the difference in a game. Yeah. But we don't have the players to go out and put the puts on throats. And I mean, there was an expression that I like to use when we used to press really high, we used to press really good. We didn't let the opposition breathe. Like we were constantly on their neck, and that was from the front. That was from the front. So we led from the front. So then everybody else, that's not even the that sets exactly sets the tempo. And we don't have tempo setters in the team. So I know that there's a lot of change needed, but the question is how much change can we actually get? Because we need 2 or 3 of these players in the team, and 2 or 3 players will inspire other players to level up. But you need players in the team first of all that's going to come in and do it. And I think Dujon Stirling is one of those players. But I think everybody else is, what's his best position? Where do we play him? What's the best for the team? What's best for him? Like we want him right wing, centre mid, and right back. But we can't have him in all these positions, can we? So we therefore need to go out and get more players like him, in my opinion. And then I think that'll be where it starts to see us being able to go out and be ruthless, be relentless. The 10 men Kilmarnock, you're right, putting 5-6 past them, and that being something of a standard. As to yesterday, if we'd done that, it would have been a novelty. Do you know?
Yeah, of course, and I think that is definitely something that we've missed this year. I'm just going to put up a few graphics here to show and illustrate the match in perhaps a little bit more detail. Andrew, the one thing that stands out here to me: total shots 41, shots on target 15. Look, I don't want to point the blame at a certain centre forward here, and I have tried my best to protect this guy. I love him. He's just he's already a bit of a cult hero, Cyril Dessers. But even I had to say at the weekend, what on earth are you doing, Cyril? 2 or 3 chances where he just took 3 or 4 touches too many. He had the goal in front of him a number of times, and someone that's chasing down numbers this year and has the criticism that he has, surely in his head he should be looking at a snapshot. And if keeper saves it, if it goes wide, fine. But at least it keeps us quiet. What do you think of his performance at the weekend?
Well, I think for a start, the fact we haven't mentioned him yet, I think kind of sums it up a little bit, especially in a 4-1 win. He very much is a form player, and that was something that was highlighted, I think it was Ronald de Boer in one of the Dutch papers. When he's on form and he's happy, he's playing great. He will score goals, but I think when his form dips, his form can be a little bit erratic, and it can be just one thing that stops him. Like you say, the 4 or 5 touches, he'll set himself perfectly, 1, 2, even when he didn't have to, and you think, great, now hit it. Then he'll go 3, 4, 5. It is a big fear in some respects that he's in this little kind of dip, especially going into the next game, because we're going to have to rely on him quite a lot. 41 shots, it really did not feel like 41 shots in that game. But I guess a lot of them were kind of like wayward chances. Some of them, you look at the 15 on target. Now, 15 on target is pretty decent in some respects. But I think if we're looking at kind of gilt-edged chances, there was probably only, bar the 4 goals, maybe another 3 or 4 that were kind of decent saves by Dennis in goal. If you look at the XG there, 4.90 was the kind of expected. So, it was 4. It just shows what we were doing. But then you look at Kilmarnock on the flip side, 0.38 XG, and they still scored from their only chance of the game, which is just happens to us all the time, because we've obviously got we just always have these defensive problems at times, going from one of the best defenses in the league earlier in the season, which still our record is still that good. We still technically are one of the best defensive. I think we are the best still technically because of the clean sheets we've had, but we're regressing dramatically at the back. It's frustrating.
It is frustrating. It is. And, this outlines the first half, second half, and I guess the full game on the right there. Dean, do you think we should get a bag of footballs and I'll drive up and I'll pick you up on the way? We'll take Cyril to a park and we'll just let him blast the ball. We'll just ping him into him. He has to hit everyone first time. Surely that is what the guy needs. It's not rocket science. His positioning's good. He gets in the right spots. His runs tend to be quite good. He's not as offside as much as he was at the start. His timing's gotten a lot better. It's that snapshot, poacher, predator, whatever you want to call it, Jermaine Defoe. That guy who just will hit the ball when it comes to him. Morelos, Boyd, whoever. They would do that. How do we get this guy to do that? Come on, Cyril, if you're listening, hit the ball.
I think there has to be some sort of punishment in there. If like you take him to the park and give him 100 balls, if he doesn't hit it first time, he has to run around the park 100 times. He'll soon learn. Do you know what I mean? He would. But no, it's crazy to think that it doesn't even. It's really hard to comprehend, because I'd understand if you feel that he needs to chop at that extra time or whatever, but like there's just no actual valid reason for him to continue to do it, and that's what frustrates us even more. So I think he's 29 now. As his game going to change that drastically? I mean, let's be honest, his game has changed. You're just echoing what you said about his running, his timing. I think we touched on that before the pod started. He can actually get in the positions. He's getting himself in the right positions in order to score the goals. And fair enough, we all wanted a 20-goal striker for the season and stuff. That's brilliant. But our 20-goal strikers of years gone by didn't have 50 chances and only putting 20 away. So our 20-goal year strikers of years gone by maybe had 25, 30 and they put 20 of them away. Do you know what I mean? So
Cool.
So that's where the frustration lies. I would like to see I would like to see him score against Celtic though. If he's watching this, we all believe that you can do it. And go and prove the doubters wrong. Go out there, hit a first time shot, and I'm confident that will go in. But it's going out and trying to be trickery pokery. It's not going to work, unfortunately.
Do you know what? With Dessers, if there's a ball coming in the box for a header, he's scoring it. And you can guarantee it because he knows what he's doing there. You look at the goal he scored against Batiste when his mind's made up and he knows exactly what he's doing. It's things like the one-on-one at Parkhead last time. Now, you don't get one-on-ones at Parkhead. It just doesn't happen. You don't normally get that. And he has that chance. And you know what? When I was in the Leighton Buzzard Loyal and we all saw him running towards the goal, we all knew he was messing that up at that point. And it's sad to say, but we all knew he was, because he had far too much time on his hands, sadly.
Yeah. And there's some great points coming in the chat, so keep those going, guys. We'll read those out as we go. It's an interesting one with Dessers. If he just had that clinical nature, I think he would have bagged a hell of a lot more. And goodness knows, I hope it doesn't come down to goal difference, but I feel like it could do at some point in the season. So all those 24 big chances that he's missed this season don't come back to bite us. One other thing that I just wanted to touch on that I'm sure those that have seen me on here before talking about this, they'll know I like to bang this drum a bit, but corners. We had corner after corner after corner. You know, it's not like we're bringing up, when we're having to replace our centre-backs, we're bringing on kind of Mascherano height players. We're bringing on big, tall, 6'5" players. What is going on here? Am I like losing the plot? I honestly think I must be here, because I've said it so many times. Why can't we score from a fucking corner? I'm honestly, please, if anyone knows the answer to that, please put it in these comments, because I am desperate to hear it, and I will personally write a letter to Philip Clement with that on the answer. But what do you think, lads? What's going on?
As much as we're needing investment in positions, we're needing investment in a set piece coach.
Yeah,
that's as imperative, in my opinion. I can't remember who it was. Maybe it was another group chat. It was something, but Arsenal have scored something like, is it 20 goals or maybe something from corners? This is that right? Yeah, like I know that's quite a lot, but and I'm going back, and there's just something that's just came into my brain. When Chelsea won the league under Jose Mourinho, I think John Terry scored 5 or 6 goals or something that season from corners, or it was, it was a large amount of goals, or maybe even it was more than that. I can't remember. I just remember them being very good at corners and scoring for set pieces and things like that. Obviously, being Jose Mourinho and very, very, very good at coaching in the first place, and having a good coaching team. But I think that's something that's is imperative for us to have investment in the summer as a set piece coach, because we are Rangers. We're going in 90% of our games. We're going to have lion's share of possession. We're going to get a lot of corners in the league. Yep. We need to be able to put these corners to use, and we just don't. So yes, that's my opinion, mate.
Yeah. What I have liked with corners in the past couple of weeks, we have changed it up a bit, and we do look like we have been working on some things. Now, technically, I think a couple of the goals did, in a sense, come from corners, but they were kind of about second or third phase, so not exactly. But
they all did at some point.
Yeah. There was that great ball from Tav from the corner to Lundstrom at the edge of the box unmarked. He took that shot, and it was a decent save. I think that's the one that did it lead to one of the goals? Can't remember now. There was so many shots, I can't remember anything. Yeah. But we do seem to, at least, under some managers at times, like I remember under Gio, we would stagnate. If something wasn't working, we would keep with it and just try and force it to work. Whereas at least we are seeing some differences with the corners. We are trying to do something different. We went from outswingers to in-swingers and then short. Obviously, at least it isn't rinsing and repeat. But as Dino says, it is imperative that we do get a proper set piece coaching, because Arsenal themselves weren't the best at set pieces at the start of the season, and they've really turned it around from January onwards, and that's why they're in the position that they're in now. You look at decent teams of the past, dare I say, Martin O'Neill's Celtic side, they were very good from set pieces and corners. Yep. And that's why they did so well in Europe. It is something we need to do. Connor Goldson was always good at meeting ahead with the ball, but it'd be 1 out of every about 100 would be on target, because obviously they generally go over the bar. We do need to do better with set pieces. When you got better players against, no disrespect, lesser teams, yes, they might have big players, we should be doing better.
Yeah. Look, completely agree and echo what you've said there, both of you lads. I think one of the things I actually was quite impressed with some of the deliveries Borna put in. It was a bit of a throwback. A couple of times he laid some nice deliveries into the box, and whether it's the movement, I remember when we used to, Aribo would make that front post run, and either flick it on or draw the
Oh,
defender out.
those were the days.
Those were the days, weren't they? But it seems simple, and it's very easy probably to overcomplicate and overthink these things. And you mentioned there that we've obviously changing things up, but still not putting it in the back of the net direct, from a header or whatever. So one to work on and one to probably keep tabs on over the summer, I'm sure. Right, lads. So 4-1 victory. You probably would have taken it when we went 1-0 down. So 3 points on the board. We are where we are. Goal difference the same, points the same difference. Going into a big game at the weekend. I just wanted to get your thoughts and reflections on some comments from Philippe Clement's counterpart on the other side of the city with regards to having some fun on Saturday. My blood was boiling a little when I heard it. So whether he's trying to rile us up or whether he's trying to do, I'm not quite sure. Whether he's just really that arrogant, I'm not quite sure. But Clement then came out and said, if you want to have fun, we can have fun, which I thought was probably quite a good response. Andrew, what's your take? Is he trying to wind us up? Is he genuinely of that mindset or a bit of both? Is he just trying to, apply some pressure?
He's definitely of that mindset. I'm surprised he didn't stand up and show the press his Gucci belt while he was at it. I don't tend to listen to a lot of what's said. I don't really focus on them, but you do get the little snippets online. And he can't help himself a lot of the time now. I'm always one of these people that looks at things, and even if something's a dead set, I won't say it because I know I'll jinx myself and then it will come back to bite me in the backside. So far this season, anything he has said hasn't come back to bite him in the backside. He's definitely had the rub of the green in that respect with certain things. It's just, it's that arrogance, I'll being completely honest, I would be embarrassed, if Clement said that. Now, Clement doesn't tend to say a lot in pressers. He might say the odd thing that's kind of coaxed out of him by the press, but he tends to not really give much away. I kind of commented on that, what was said by Rodgers on Twitter, and then people were commenting back going, oh, but no, he said this, we're going to have fun now, so he's the same. And it's like, no, he's just, giving the comment back because, it's like basically saying it's going to be a walkover. Now, all the games this season between them and us have been fairly close. They might not have felt it, but they have. And the last game at their place was a 2-1 loss for us, but we had 10 men. And actually, in the last minute, I know it's all if, what's, buts, and maybes, but that last minute in the box where Dowell's got the ball, all you have to do is square it to Tav and it's in for 2-2, but he doesn't. So things can get a bit weird now. Obviously, it's a cauldron there and stuff, but Rodgers, I think he's just so used to winning up here. It's very different now. Yeah.
Dino, what's your take? Were you as furious? Is probably the right word as I was. Were you as riled up by it, or do you think it's just a flippant comment and probably shouldn't read into it?
No, it's not a flippant comment. It's, as Clement pointed out, it's complete disrespect. But we should utilise that and use that to our advantage and go out and show them the same levels of respect. And that's therein lies the problem, because we, seem to show them same levels of respect. Clement's response was bang on. Couldn't have asked them to have put it any better. But we should be using that as ammunition for us to, the sort of cliche of put it in the dressing room wall every day, to remind the players, so when we get to Parkhead, they're going to go out and somebody's going to, get stuck in, get a booking in the first minute, like that attitude. That should be what it should be used for. And you use the emotion of it in the right way is what I'm trying to say. And I genuinely think that Rodgers is he's playing to the masses, isn't he? So and
he is, yeah.
Stirring the pot. So he's just let's go and have some fun, because he's that confident. And as Andrew said, it's changed times to obviously years gone by as to when he was here, and things coming so easy to him. So let him be that arrogant. We've always known that he's that type of individual. We know that our manager would never come out and be disrespectful like that towards them. Even in 55s, even when they had that disaster and catastrophe at the back that was Shane Duffy. you know, we remained respectful to them, even though he was absolutely honking. Do you know, and we were rubbing our hands, like we knew that we were going to beat them. We knew, do you know what I mean? Like, but we never once went out and told them that we were going to have fun or we were going to be this, we were going to be that. But we remained respectful towards them, and that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It does. And there was a point. There was something you said there which I wanted to just touch on. You mentioned that these players should be using this as ammunition, right? They should be using it as fuel to propel them and to motivate them to really put a huge, energetic, aggressive performance in and take the game to Celtic on Saturday. Do you think that, given that there's a whole host of players who are potentially on the way out, do you think that motivation for them is even there, or do you think maybe that motivation might be slipping a bit, or even more so, they might even be more motivated to leave a legacy of 56 here? Andrew, I'll come to you first. Obviously, chopping and changing players about, and with players potentially speaking to their agents already about new opportunities, do you think that sort of neutralises a bit of their passion towards it?
No, they need to put themselves in the shop window, don't they? You know, if they kind of stutter to the end of their Rangers career, then, you know, they're not going to have people clambering for them, are they? You know, we talk about pinning things to the dressing room wall. You know, that was one of the first things I said, that should be pinned to the dressing room wall. They should be looking at that going, right, you've got to utterly hate them. Something we've not done for a long time, probably since Gerrard. And I know hate's a strong word, but Gerrard utterly hates Celtic. He absolutely hates them. When he played that friendly for Liverpool, the Legends game, he ran up when they played Celtic. He ran up to their fans, giving it, you know, the big one. He just absolutely hated them, and that's something this team just doesn't seem to kind of have, which is a bit frustrating, because how many times have we said pin that to the dressing room wall this season? It's been about 4 or 5. You know, when Rodgers said, you know, about, you know, oh, they always say the Rangers are coming, you know, I've been told that 4 or 5 times, it isn't happening. Well, we did catch up then. It's, you know, the players do have something to play for, a bit of pride, you know, go out, you know, potentially, you know, with a trophy, even though it doesn't feel like it feels a little bit doom and gloom at the minute. We win there at Parkhead. We're joint top on goal difference of a few goals that are separating us, and then that can really go down to the wire. I know we feel it kind of was blown as fans, you know, with the kind of results against Ross County and Dundee, because frankly, you drop points to them teams, you're not looking to win a title. But these players do have to put themselves in the shop window. And if they want to get these good moves that they're looking for, then they need to prove their worth, because this is where scouts will be looking at them going, well, their contract's up at the end of the season, or they're going to be available cheap. What have they got to offer? What they're playing like now? We don't want to see reels from about 2 years ago or a year ago. They want to see how they're playing now. So there's big motivation to go out there and win and actually get a monkey off their back as well, because we haven't won there since probably when 2020 Parkhead, was it something like that? Yeah. It's too long.
It is. I think it was Katic, was it? Katic scored the header. I think was.
I want to say Goldson, the Goldson double, was it? Because that was after.
Oh
that,
yes, that's right. Yes, it was.
Yeah, those dark days. Yeah.
No fans. Dino, I want to kind of ask you this similar question, but slightly rephrase it. Bomber Brown, Ian Ferguson, Barry Ferguson, the steel of you know, a Rangers team, the players that, you know, Bomber Brown will be sat with his boots on hours before in the dressing room, just sort of, you know, mentally getting himself in the right frame of mind for it. Who are the players that we've got in our team now, do you think, that are of a mentality that they will be aggressive, they will understand what this game means, and they will do everything to win this match? Who are they?
Sterling, I believe he's one, definitely. To I think, given the opportunity, I think Lawrence. I think he's another one. I think Lawrence is that type of person to go and sit on Callum McGregor for the 90 minutes.
Early booking. Yeah,
all day long. Take it, love it. But I don't really think there's much more really than that, which is sad to say.
Butland. Potentially
Butland. I'm sorry, Butland. Yeah, definitely Butland. Sorry, but I'm just thinking about outfield players. But you're right, Butland definitely been one to take leadership in the dressing room and the training and, you know, things like that, and the the egging on, and that's definitely what we need. And somebody's put Balogun there. Balogun's a good shout, but I feel quite. I don't know, Paul. The reason I've never mentioned him there is because I'm not even particularly sure that he's going to be fit for the weekend. So that's why I never said Balogun, because it never looked particularly promising. His face told 1,000 pictures, in my opinion, on yesterday. So I don't think he's unfortunately going to be in contention to play. But I guess his being in the dressing room, and even though not playing, I guess he can still be somebody in the dressing room to hurl the boys on and encourage them and get them believing in themselves. But that's all that's needed. And it is just really, I know it's a old cliche, but all it takes is that one tackle in the first few minutes, and that changes everything. So you're at their place, go and do it. Shut the fans up. Early foul, early booking, early shot on goal.
Yeah.
That's set the tempo again. Using that phrase of set the tempo, and needing those players in the starting lineup to go out and do that and carry that weight on their shoulders and thrive under that weight, because those players that you mentioned, Ross, it was in their DNA to go out and do it. And it was the famous Barry Ferguson picture. I think he had his skinhead, and it's the NTL strip, and he's got his captain's armband, and he looks down and he's like, Ken, lie down and grunt sort of thing, like, Ken, that's what you want in the team. And those players had it in their DNA, so maybe we're needing players that have that sort of identity. But those players that were just mentioned, that Paul had obviously echoed as well, they're ones that can definitely do it, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think that's fair. I would argue that we are lacking that. It is lacking a DNA of an aggressive Rangers. Rangers in their DNA is the best way to say it, as you said, Dean, and someone that understands it and would do anything for that bragging rights, whatever that would be.
You know what? Yeah. I think the last player to kind of do that in recent times was probably Ryan Kent. And I know his form, in recent seasons wasn't great, but he was probably the last player in recent years to actually be that one, that you could see just utterly hated them. And he would empty the tank, wouldn't he? He would be running at players constantly, he'd be taking the ball, and he just wouldn't give up. And I think that's something we're missing a little bit, personally.
Yeah, and that's fair enough. I mean, yeah, I'm sure that'll be a divisive comment on the chat here. So if you agree with Andrew, let us know. If you don't, then definitely let us know. Look, before we move on to a bit about kind of Old Firm Week and what this looks like and how this week could pan out, Dean, you've got your trivia question. So for those that haven't watched the Rangers Journal before, we like to do a trivia question now and again. So please put your comments in the chat, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, wherever it is. And I'll star some of them, and then we'll read out the answers later on. Over to you, Dean.
It's a question about my favourite ever players. So if you're of an age where you're unsure of this, ask your Rangers dad. Brian Laudrup played 116 times for Rangers and 82 times for Denmark. But which country was he born in?
Love it. That is good trivia. That is proper Rangers trivia. If anyone Googles it, you're immediately banned. So.
Even I don't know this one. This has got me interested.
Is it? Oh, I don't know. Tricky one.
It's going to be some random place, isn't it? I think it is.
Yeah, Swaziland.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thanks for that, Dino. And do put your comments in. Look, lads, it's a huge week for us as Rangers fans. The title race is well and truly on. Time is ticking on, and the amount of games that we've got left to claw this back are slowly diminishing week on week. Andrew, talk me through what does Old Firm Week look like for you, and I guess leading up to this game in particular, kind of where's your head at? I really want to know.
Oh, do you know what? It's a weird one, this one. It starts, there's definitely stages, I find, you know. At the minute, it's the impending doom and the dread that I've kind of got at the minute. This is where you normally hear that all their players suddenly are starting to get miraculously fit, which they are actually at the minute. They're not really suffering too badly with injuries. Yeah, no, it starts off kind of, you know, you're kind of peering over the fence, you're thinking, right, how could we shape up? How are they going to shape up? Obviously, we've had fiery comments from Brendan Rodgers, so you know, that's kind of inflamed the flames before we even played yesterday. It's going to be a whole week of just absolute pandemonium. It's going to be lineups. It's going to be, you know, is it going to be Matondo out on the left? Is it going to be, oh, you can just never know. And the thing with these games are, as you well know, it's generally a goal that wins it, isn't it? It's whoever scores first generally kind of wins that game. And it's this fine margins now. It really is fine margins. Yes, they're 3 points ahead, but you know, if we win, well, if we win 3-0, it's an impossibility almost, it feels like. But you know, we would go top, which just is crazy. It does not feel like we're in this position right now. Now you look, obviously going over to Parkhead's a very difficult task. You know, we always struggle there. They've got 60,000 of their fans being, you know, at the team, and we've got players in this team that don't cope well with that. Barisic definitely being one. We've got some players that are out of form at the minute. You know, you look at Tav, and it just seems like he only gets going about 20 minutes into games at the minute. So that's something that hopefully Tav can shake off going into the weekend. But it's all sorts of nerves. It's fun, but then it's not fun, and then even when you feel it's not going to happen 2 minutes before kickoff, you are ready for it. You're like, we're going to win this. We're going to absolutely batter them.
Battle fever. Dino, I don't know if you're like me. I tend to kind of get myself psyched up Monday, Tuesday. I'm ready. I'm really like raring to go, kind of refreshing the pages to see what's coming out, any chatter about lineups or who's injured or what the manager's saying. The managers are saying, oh, it doesn't really mean that much. It's just 3 points. Now we know we're at the business end of the season, and that is a load of crap. So what's the week looking like for you, mate? Have you got kind of a safe, a safe space you can go and have 10 minutes and chill out if you need it, or what?
No, I'll take 10 minutes where I can, pal. Just Monday, Tuesday, just gets the fuel up the car, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, put the fit down. Comes to Saturday, Sunday, battle fever on, and you're closing your eyes and you're imagining us beating them and all these sort of euphoric, incidents. Yeah. Which it will be complete euphoria, us going and winning there. Let's not shy away from that. It will be one of the best Rangers victories in years gone by if we're able to go and do that. And you know, the crazy thing is though, 3 months ago we were probably not even 3 months ago, but we were probably having the conversation that, you know, we were looking like we could go to Parkhead and win. Now we're having a conversation whereas we're this like, Narcissus have failed like the team again, blah 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 blah. You know, us going and winning there seems like an impossibility. Whereas not that long ago it didn't seem like an impossibility because you thought that these players were capable of it. And now you're like, I was speaking to my dad yesterday. Shout out to him for watching, by the way. Love you, Dad. I said, there's like, I was just saying, we don't seem capable to go and do that, which is quite sad, isn't it? So, you know, stranger things have happened. Records are made to be broken. All the rest of it. That's kind of where my mindset is going into it, Ross. And try and stay as positive as possible.
It's a crazy week, and let's just see what happens and what comments are made and the rumblings that we start to hear. I'm quite thankful that it's Bank Holiday Monday today because it kind of knocks one day out. It's only 4 days now to go, 4 sleeps. But yeah, I think this one feels, I know we spoke last time before about the lead up to the previous one at Ibrox, and that was potentially, you know, very much for us to peel away at that point and start, you know, making a lot of ground between us. But I think this one's even bigger. I know that there's, every Old Firm's a big game, but this one feels like it's potentially title deciding fixture. Andrew, I don't want to kind of go into predictions or anything because we've got a podcast on Wednesday, one on Friday as well, and you'll have some on your own channel, which please feel free to plug in a minute, Andrew. But if we do get a victory here, do you think Celtic will be rocked and potentially drop more points towards now and the end of the season? Or do you think it's a case of get out of there even with a draw and then hope that something happens? Where's your head at? Because I can't make up my mind yet.
The way I kind of described it the other day, us and Celtic are like two one-legged UFC fighters trying to fight it out. We are both in very poor form at the minute. Celtic have their fragilities. We saw in December when they lost at home to Hearts and then lost straight after, and it was unbelievable. That's not something you see from a Celtic side. So when they do get a bad result or a defeat, it does seem to shake them. And they've been very unpredictable. Obviously, they went out and beat Dundee 7-0 and then lost the week after. So it didn't make any sense. Now they seem to have hit a little bit of I wouldn't say a great bit of form. They're a bit more stable at the minute. They're picking up results and they're looking a little bit more solid. A few of their injured players are kind of coming back a bit earlier than anticipated. So I'm definitely sure it's them with the voodoo doll. For us, I honestly think that with our injuries and now with the back line being changed, you know what? I think the back line needed changed, if we're being honest. And I think this has kind of forced Clement's hand a little bit. Whether it is Balogun, if his muscle injury is okay for the weekend, whether it's him or whether if it's Ben Davies, it might actually do us a little bit of a favour. And that sounds weird, I know, because we're very reliable on our back four. We never really change it. So that could help. It's a difficult one. Being completely honest, you could put all this data into a supercomputer and it would still struggle because there's not a lot between us now. Obviously, they've got the home form. We know this. And as Hugo Bez just said there, Aberdeen just a couple of weeks ago ran them close in the Scottish Cup, and obviously the lottery of penalties that kind of got them through. But I think if we start well, which is something we've not been good at of late, we could rock them because they were struggling. That we'll have to remember, when we keep thinking this is out of our reach. The last time we played them there, yes, we went 2 down, but they were kind of 2 decent enough goals. Yeah. Kind of that's all they had really, because there wasn't the usual bombardment. They normally pepper us for the first 20 and we struggle to kind of keep it together. There was none of that. We even had a 1-on-1 for goodness sake. But then when we went down to 10 men, we started to look the better side. And, we were unlucky in the last kind of embers of the game not to actually get something out of it. But again, if what's buts and maybes, I know. We know we can get something. Now, under Clement, his first game was a loss. His second game was a draw. Is his third game against him now in the upward trend going to be a win? I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so too, Andrew. I really hope so. Dino, we're thank you everyone for watching. Dino, we're going to come to wrap up in a minute, but before we do, I'd love to hear the answer to the Laudrup trivia question. So fire away.
He was born in Austria because at the time his dad was playing in Austria. So yeah,
very good. I think there was a few people. I starred a few there. RFC 72 and Paul. Well done, guys. Yes, you win our respect. Well done. You are a Rangers fan. Andrew, you obviously run the Ibrox channel. For those that don't know, tell us a bit about the channel, please.
Yeah, the Ibrox channel. It's a podcast over on all your normal podcast stores. You'll have to search the new Ibrox channel podcast. There's a problem with the old feed. We've also got a website, theibroxchannel.com. I'm writing a piece at the minute on Niels Coppen, which I'm going down a bit of a rabbit hole at the minute, finding stuff out. Good stuff, by the way. It sounds like it's going to be an okay magazine, the expose, or no. There's lots of other stuff on there. So do check that out, and you'll find me mainly on Twitter. It's not, I know it's X, but it's Twitter to all of us. At the Ibrox channel, always got something to say on there at some point. So do great check stuff. It out.
Well, Andrew, thanks so much for taking the time to come on. It's been great chatting this through with you. And Dino, likewise. Not sure if you want to say thank you to the viewers.
Yeah, thanks very much for tuning in, guys. please like, share and subscribe to our channel, and the same for Andrew. Always a good guest, and yeah, always lots of fun. So tune in for more, because there's good things coming up.
I'll be that tenner later, Dino.
Yeah, thank you, gents, for joining us, and thank you everyone for tuning in, whether that's on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, wherever it is. Please do like, subscribe, and share, as Dino said. For those that haven't caught it, there was a charity stream that was run by Kai and Scotty and a few of the other Rangers Journal lads that went out on Friday. You can catch that on YouTube. That's up there now. There's some great insight from some Rangers fans like us, and also some special guests along the way as well. Old Firm week is upon us yet again. Let's hope it is fun and we get the result we need at the end of the week. Thanks for watching.